deeper psychological problems you didn't find out about earlier, whatever their obstacles might be, you might find out that some people are really motivated, they have that intrinsic drive, stuff like that. Some people just struggle because of life and things that get in their way, and some people are just kind of full of shit. I know it's kind of a harsh thing to say on the podcast, but there are people who just will sit there and they are convinced that they want it, and then they find out that it takes a lot more than they realize, and then they don't. And one thing I've learned over time, I struggled with this a lot when I first started training, was I wanted to bear that burden and that responsibility. If they don't get there, it's my fault. And at the end of the day, if I can look at myself in the mirror and be like, I did everything I could, I did my best. At the end of the day, if they weren't willing to and they didn't get there, that's not on me. But I've seen it like cripple trainers, life coaches, anybody that's kind of involved in lifestyle change. Like, if you take that on, that it's all you, or you're so good that you can get them motivated, some people you just can't. And you do your best, and you hope that something else pops up in life that maybe gets them to turn that switch a little bit. Yeah. I'm not a huge analogy guy, but I'm really good about copying other people. And so when I hear analogies from other people, it makes a lot of sense. It's very simple. Do you say you want to get better before you go to the doctor? And if they do, then they're just a different kind of person. I don't really know what to tell them at that point. But it's the same idea. Or, I need to go get clean before I hop in the shower. Like, that's asinine. That's literally what our job is. And so, again, I think typically we can break that down pretty quickly too. That's not the real objection. It comes back to more of a human element where it's, I'm scared, or I'm lost, whatever it might be. I mean, we can get, we have people break down on us as kind of guides a little bit, guides, train conductors, something along those lines. We're basically setting out a map, right? So, one, figuring out where you're actually at. So I think some people have a misconception of where they're actually at. How messed up are they? How far away from where they, where they see themselves are they? So we can actually establish, okay, where are you actually at? We can do that with real assessments. We can do that just from talking to you, figuring out your exercise history. Basically try to get as good of a picture as we can before we actually talk about even getting to your goals, things like that. And that's something that we do here at Lifetime. Hopefully any reputable trainer out there will do. If they don't, run away, because you're with the wrong person. But after we figure out kind of where you're at, then yeah, we want honest feedback. Okay, where do you actually see yourself? What are your goals, etc. But I think the back end of our job is, okay, is that actually realistic? Do we, is that goal something that's going to be achievable for you? Do we maybe need to reset the game plan a little bit of, okay, here's where I know you think you want to go, but here's where I think it would actually be more realistic for you. And then along the way, and this is kind of where I see more of a guide, is there's going to be detours, there's going to be roadblocks, there's going to be things that get in our way on the way there. And we also, we're not fortune tellers. We can't sit here and know exactly what's going to pop up. In our last podcast, we talked about injuries. How are we actually going to guide that? When do we train through that? How do we kind of adjust our course a little bit? Things like that. And then at the end of the day, ideally we set up, okay, if everything goes great, here's kind of our timeline if we have an end goal in mind. But we want to set a goal that's attainable. But if it's more of a, we have a certain goal we want to get to, but then just continue to get a little bit better, but something that's actually sustainable. So where are you? Where do you want to get to? And then basically, how do we navigate how to get you there? For the average person, I tell them, like, my goal would be that we get you so good at this stuff that you don't need me. Now, if you want to keep me on after that, great. I'll be here and you can employ me and you'll get even more results. And by that point, you'll see the value of it. But I've had people who, I have a guy coming up who in a couple of months is probably going to go on his own. He's doing this 60-day with me, which I'm sure we'll talk about here in a second. And we've been working together since the 1st of January. He didn't take the diet and everything else seriously until about mid-March. And now all of a sudden, he's really seeing results. And when we're looking at it, he said, honestly, in a couple months, I think I'll beat my goal. And I said, cool, let's get you through the next couple of months, and then you can decide if you want to keep me around or not. And if he doesn't, at that point, as long as he keeps going on his own, I have no problem with that. He got to his goal. I was able to provide the accountability and help him start getting stuff outside the gym on track a little bit. And in some ways, at that point, I've done my job. Like I don't feel bad about that. To just relate to them on a human level. Like I'm a trainer, I'm a professional in this. I've been at it for a while, but we're all also learning as we go along. I don't know nearly as much 7 years ago as I know today, and I guarantee in 7 years, if I think I've learned it all, then I should just stop because I'm not where I should be. Shape, and then I'll hire you to like get me to cross the finish line. And so I told him it's a lot harder to start than it is to finish. Like once you get started, like wheels are turning, we can actually get there. But you're coming in again using a program that he literally bought off Instagram, and it actually isn't a bad program. I checked it out for him, but he didn't know how to do those things correctly. And so I was able to show him like, hey, let's actually give you foundation. Let's get the car started. Then you can go across the finish line on your own if you want to. If that trainer or coach cannot tell you why, then you need to leave. Because if you can't give a why behind it, then what are you doing? You're literally just throwing something on a piece of paper. There's a coach, Ben Bruno, that I follow on Instagram, and he has said the same thing. He's applied it to like talking about a burpee, why he'll never have a client do a burpee. But he'll also admit, like, for him, he can't give a good reason why a client should do a burpee. He said, no, if your trainer can, then sure, trust them, that's fine if they can give a good reason for it. But I'm kind of the same way. There's certain things that I just won't have a client do because I don't see a purpose in it. And if there's not a purpose in it, why are you doing it? Why am I going to have you go out there and just kill yourself just for the point of fatiguing yourself? Because at the end of the day, fatiguing yourself doesn't do a whole lot. So if there's not a purpose behind it, then like, I have no problem with my clients. I was like, you can ask me why anytime you want. If I can't give you a good answer, you can call me out on it. And as a trainer, like, you can defend yourself without getting defensive. If you can't, then you either need to work on personality a little bit, not being so sensitive, or check yourself and like, did I actually think about why I'm having that person do that? Is there a reason I'm having them do that warm up or that specific exercise, and does it fit into their program?